From Tim Howard stopping 16 shots on target in a single match to Sergio Goycochea saving 4 fast penalties in one tournament, these are 10 of the most impossible World Cup saves, ranked from the spectacular to the most legendary. 10 goalkeepers, 10 huge moments that defied physics. Let's get to it. Tim Howard's 16 saves in a single match against Belgium. It was one of the greatest moments in the tournament's history, and that day was July 1st, 2014, marked by a round of 16 World Cup match between the United States and Belgium. The stakes were higher than ever, and United States goalkeeper Tim Howard was the main wall standing against Belgium. And on that day, Tim Howard did the impossible. Belgium had taken 38 shots with over 15 on target. The United States had only 3, but somehow the game stayed tied after the full 90 minutes. Just a few minutes after kickoff, Howard stopped Divock Origi with his toe and pushed a rising shot over the crossbar. And by the end of the first half, he'd blocked multiple low shots from Belgium's biggest stars, including Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne. The numbers shown after the match were even more incredible, as by the end, Howard had made 16 saves, a World Cup record that still stands today against a Belgian team that finished with 38 total shots. Though the US lost in extra time, Howard was named Man of the Match, a feat that is very rare for a goalkeeper on the losing team. Later, he brushed the whole game aside, saying he was only doing his job. Howard's amazing performance became such a big moment that he quickly turned into an internet meme, with fans joking about all the other things he could probably save. However, 28 years before that game, another goalkeeper had done the impossible, and his performance in that game was legendary. Jean-Marie Pfaff's penalty save against Spain. This happened in the 1986 quarterfinal shootout in Puebla, Mexico. This game was much more than a match. Too much was at stake, and it wasn't just the World Cup. Belgium and Spain had fought to a draw after extra time, and the match came down to the spot. Pfaff stepped up against Spain's Eloy Olaya and dove the correct way, denying him completely. Belgium converted every one of their own kicks, and that's to that, Pfaff's single save was the entire difference in the shootout. This sent Belgium to their first ever World Cup semi-final, the deepest run in the country's history at that point. Pfaff later explained that half his job in a shootout was psychological, trying to plant doubt in a kicker's head before the ball was even placed on the spot. Sometimes he'd even talk to opponents before they walked up to shoot. But almost 30 years later, another goalkeeper would go on to do the same thing, this time to the host team. That was Guillermo Ochoa's wall against Brazil. It happened on June 17, 2014 in Fortaleza. Mexico was playing as one of the favorites to win the World Cup in front of 200 million excited fans, and by the 26th minute, they needed a miracle to make that happen. Dani Alves sent a cross into the box, and Neymar jumped up to head it down inside the post. This type of shot was often impossible to save, the stuff of nightmares for most goalkeepers. Yet Ochoa dove backwards and sideways at the same time, reached the ball with one hand, and slammed into the post as the ball spun wide. He had almost defied gravity at that point, yet he didn't stop there. Guillermo went on to block Paulinho before halftime, save another shot from Neymar in the second half, and then, with only a few minutes left, he stopped Thiago Silva from point-blank range with almost no time to react. Thanks to that, the game ended in a scoreless draw, and Ochoa earned Man of the Match against a team many people expected to win the whole tournament. At the time, a struggling French club had just released him, and he did not have a team, making this performance and quick comeback for his career. There are 8 more impossible saves to go, but before we get to the goalkeeper who somehow stopped 4 penalty kicks in a single World Cup run, don't forget to like and subscribe for more of football's most unbelievable moments. Sergio Goycochea's performance at the 1990 World Cup. This was a very strange moment. For one, this man was not even supposed to play in the tournament. tournament. He was not the first or second choice for Argentina's third-choice goalkeeper. He only got the starting job because the first-choice goalkeeper was injured. But in the quarter-final penalty shootout against Yugoslavia on June 30th, and then again in the semi-final shootout against the host nation Italy on July 3rd, Goycochea became almost impossible to beat. Against Yugoslavia, he dove low to stop one penalty, then threw himself the other way to block another. Just days later in Naples, with an angry Italian crowd screaming for their own team, he guessed correctly on 2 more penalties and pushed both shots away. Thanks to that, he made the 4 epic saves across 2 penalty shootouts that sent Argentina into their second straight World Cup final. But even more interesting is that Goycochea was not even supposed to be part of that tournament in the first place. He had been Argentina's third-choice goalkeeper until an injury to the starter forced him into the lineup, and in a matter of weeks, he became a national hero. He later explained that a penalty hit close enough to the post cannot be saved, which meant every one of his stops came from guessing the right way before the ball was even kicked. Yet what happened 38 years earlier was more insane. Of course, we're talking about Dino Zoff's save against Brazil. It happened on July 5th, 1982 in Barcelona. Brazil had arrived at that tournament as the best team on the planet, and Italy desperately needed a win just to survive the group. Late in the match, with Italy clinging to a 1-goal lead, Brazil's Oscar rose for a header that was surely going to cross the line. Yet Zoff, who was at least 40 years old at the time, dropped and smothered the ball right on the goal line and stayed down while holding it even as Brazilian players ignorantly screamed for a goal. Zoff later admitted that he felt several seconds of pure terror. He was worried the referee might rule it wrong the way one had years earlier in his career. The referee ruled no goal. Italy won 3-2, then went on to beat Poland and West Germany to win the entire tournament, making Zoff at 40 the oldest player ever to lift a World Cup trophy. That record still stands today, yet 12 years later, a very different kind of save occurred. This time, it was based on technique, and it would earn an unknown goalkeeper the World Cup's best individual honor, Michel Preud'homme's save against Morocco. It was an amazing moment that happened during the 1994 World Cup in the United States. FIFA's own records described this save as art in motion. Preud'homme wasn't the biggest or fastest goalkeeper in the tournament. At 35 years old, playing in his second and final World Cup, his game was built almost on perfect positioning and clean footwork instead of incredible athletic ability. That save, along with a tournament full of other calm and controlled performances, earned him the very first Yashin Award, the honor now called the Golden Glove, an award only given to the best goalkeeper at the World Cup. Over the years, that award would be won by goalkeepers such as Gianluigi Buffon and Manuel Neuer, and 24 years after 1994, a much younger goalkeeper would do something similar. This time, though, he'd use pure reach and quick reflexes to protect a lead in the final minutes of a quarter-final. Thibaut Courtois' save against Brazil. This happened on July 6, 2018 in Kazan. Belgium led 2-1 late in the game when Neymar fired a powerful shot toward the top corner, giving Courtois almost no time to react. Standing 6'6", Courtois moved across his goal and pushed it away, protecting Belgium's lead. If that shot had gone in, Brazil likely would have forced extra time and had the momentum. Instead, Belgium held on, reached the semi-finals for the first time since 1986, and finished third, their best World Cup result ever. Courtois later won the Golden Glove as the game's best goalkeeper. But 8 years earlier, in an even bigger game, one save on a clear breakaway may have decided who lifted the World Cup. And even that goalkeeper later admitted he got a little lucky. Iker Casillas' save against Robben. This happened in the 2010 World Cup final in Johannesburg. With the game scoreless in the 62nd minute, Arjen Robben broke through completely alone, giving him one of football's clearest chances. Casillas stayed on his feet, refused to commit early, and stretched out a foot to push the shot just wide of the post. Casillas later admitted that if they repeated the moment 10 times, Robben would probably score 9, and that the shot only missed because it hit his foot instead of his hands. Spain went on to win in extra time through Andres Iniesta, claiming their first ever World Cup title, with that foot save playing a huge part. 13 years later, with the World Cup on the line, another keeper would make almost the same kind of save in an even more dramatic final. Emiliano Martinez's save against Kolo Muani. This came in the 3rd minute of extra time in the 2022 World Cup final in Qatar. The score was 3-3 when a chipped pass sent Randall Kolo Muani through alone, needing only to beat Martinez to win the World Cup for France. Martinez saw the danger, changed his angle, and left a gap on purpose, betting Kolo Muani would shoot first time. He guessed right, stuck out a leg, and turned the shot away. Argentina won the shootout that followed, giving Lionel Messi his first World Cup title. But afterwards, Martinez said the save haunted him for months because he kept imagining what would have happened if the ball had gone in. Kolo Muani said the same moment still bothers him, and he still watches the replay, wondering what else he could have done. But as incredible as that save was, it wasn't close to the greatest save the World Cup has ever seen. That ultimate save belongs to Gordon Banks, and the amazing moment happened on June 7th, 1970 in Guadalajara against the greatest player who ever lived, in a match that many people still remember as one of the biggest tests England ever faced. Jairzinho sent a cross into the box from the right, and Pelé jumped to meet it with a downward header. He hit the ball so perfectly that Pelé started celebrating before the ball had even reached the goal. However, Banks, standing near the middle of his goal, threw himself all the way to his right and somehow got one hand underneath the falling ball, pushing it up and over his own crossbar. A downward header can bounce off the ground quickly and in a strange direction, making it one of the hardest shots in football to reach, let alone save. Gordon Banks later said that after hitting the ground hard, he thought the ball had gone into the net until he looked up and saw it had bounced behind the goal instead. Pelé has openly confessed that years later, people still ask him about that one save more than any goal he ever scored. But England still lost the match 1-0 and got knocked out of the tournament in the next round. His save, though, is remembered as the greatest in football history, a moment when a goalkeeper made something that looked impossible seem almost easy. Countless other World Cup saves have left fans in disbelief over the decades, from goalkeepers who somehow read a striker's mind to goalkeepers who simply refused to let a single shot beat them. We would love to hear which ones you would add in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now click on the next video on your screen. You will enjoy it. Until next time, take care.